Hi, welcome back to Glow Up with Shelly. Today's video is going to be a video about how to transform your skin at home, how to boost your collagen, how to reduce any scarring, how to erase your fine lines, and significantly reduce your wrinkles. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about needling, and we're gonna do it today together. We're gonna talk about preparation, we're gonna do the process, and then talk about what to do afterwards. So I'm so excited for this video. You all know I love this. And today we're gonna be doing it with a bonus. That's right, we're gonna be using EGF. So let's get into it. So what is dermal stamping? Because that's what this video is. We are going to be stamping today, and I brought my dermal stamp. Right? This is different than the pin, than microneedling, right? Microneedling has that tiny little pin with a tiny little surface, and a derma stamp has a pretty darn big surface. So this is a larger surface that you are doing, but this derma stamp that I have is adjustable. So you can achieve the same levels that you get with your pin in a stamp, and it is a lot faster. So that's why I love this stamper. Not only is it faster, you're not using a roller, right? So you don't have any of that dragging potential, and you're also not using a pen, so you don't have the potential of like nicking the skin or creating a larger rip or tear in your skin. This just goes straight up and down, right? So you don't have to worry about really injuring anything in that epidermal level, right? Or the stratum corneum. You are going to just be penetrating directly into the skin and getting down into the under layers of the dermal, right? The actual skin, going beyond the epidermis and into the dermis of the skin. And one of the only disadvantages to derma stamping is awkward areas. And I mean like around the nose, in deep crevices, like if you have crevices on your face, this might not get every single area because it is a little harder to navigate just because of the surface level. It's kind of got a large surface. You could use a microneedling pen to get the smaller areas while doing this. The only thing that is you would waste that pen, that needle, right? So because you don't want to reuse it. So that would be the only drawback to derma stamping, but it does all of the great things that microneedling does, right? It boosts your collagen by 600%. It amps up elastin production in your skin. It targets acne if you are going deep enough, and it also helps even out those collagen structures. So it does a lot of great things for your skin. It really is like turning back time. I've been microneedling for, gosh, almost 8 years now. And I haven't done it super consistent over those 8 years, but I swear nothing has helped my skin more than microneedling. And I just want to throw up some before my journey pictures for those of you who are new subscribers to my channel and maybe don't know just how different my skin looked prior to what it is today. So I'm 48, I'll be 49 in just a few months, and that is what I looked like when I started. I think I must have been 40, 41 here. And then of course, this is what I look like now. So lots of changes, and I'm telling you, microneedling and my skincare routine, what I do is the only thing I've changed. I've had no plastic surgery, unfortunately. I've never had any serious treatment. I've had a couple of laser treatments. I've had some microneedling sessions and some peels. I've had a little bit of Botox, but I don't have Botox now. I love to do that to show people because so many people are like, yeah, Botox, your frozen face. So I love to squish up my face and to show them like, no, I don't have Botox. I did get Botox to like freeze my wrinkles in place while I needled them. Let's get into what we need to do. So remember that when you're dermastamping, you need to figure out what your needle length will be, like what you're gonna stamp at. You can stamp anywhere from 0.25 millimeters all the way up. On this stamper, it goes to 3 millimeters. I would not suggest doing above 2 millimeters ever, and that's only really for scars, like for stretch mark and scars. Make sure that you are choosing the right needle length. I'm gonna go over what needle lengths I'm using in this video when I do my dermastamping treatment. So some supplies that you'll need some rubber gloves, you know, just regular rubber gloves. You're going to need your stamper. These are pretty cheap. You can buy this on the Dr. Penn website. I'll link it down below. This is the DRS stamper. I don't think it's available on Amazon. If it is, you'll be able to find it in my cart. This is super cheap. It's not expensive. It's probably about anywhere between $15 and $30. So you can use it for about 10 times sterilizing it, and then you'll want to toss it after that. So you'll also need some high weight hyaluronic acid, and I use a pretty cheap one. This is Costa Baja. I will put this in my Amazon cart as well. It is great. It's a high weight hyaluronic acid. And honestly, because it's high weight, it's going to be less irritating on your skin. It does tend to sit on the skin, but that's okay. We're needling, so it will get deep into the epidermis of our skin. And the other thing you're going to need is your EGF serum. This is super cheap. It's the Ordinary. It's $15. This is what I used when I was needling. And then you're going to want to have this healing ointment. Guys, it's really important to have a healing ointment. If it's not CeraVe, make sure it's some other kind of healing ointment. This is the way that you're going to heal so much quicker from your microneedling. If you've never followed this protocol for microneedling, I highly suggest, well, I highly encourage you to follow along with me and to use these products. They're not expensive, and tell me what you think. The other thing that you're going to need is you're going to need some lidocaine numbing relief. Guys, if you're gonna go deep, if you're gonna go above 1 millimeter, you're gonna want some lidocaine. So you'll also need alcohol wipes because you'll need to make those super sterile. Okay, so the first step that I did was I cleansed my face thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly. I double cleansed it. I made sure everything was off of it. I thoroughly cleansed my skin. Then the next thing I did after I had everything prepped is I put on my lidocaine, my numbing cream. Okay, and I got this numbing cream from Platinum Skincare. This was not my favorite numbing cream. I do have a better one in my Amazon cart. This wore off really fast, so I don't suggest you use this one, but you can get it from Platinum Skincare if you'd like and try it. Again, like I said, it did wear off quick. You have to be careful because you don't want it to wear off when you're needling. That was not fun. You'll see in the video. You'll see in the video. So I put the numbing cream all over my face. I waited 5 minutes. I actually gave it a couple of extra minutes, and then I cleansed my skin. I wiped all of the numbing cream off, and I washed it again with my Cosrx cleanser, right? You want that skin to be clean. You do not want to needle any of this into your skin. So when you put the numbing cream on, make sure after you put the numbing cream on that you take it off fully, right? Take it all off and wash your face. Then the next step that you're going to do, put your gloves back on because you just washed your face, and then you're going to wipe your face with an isopropyl alcohol swab. Select your needle length. And in this video, the first needle length that I use, I do 2 passes, right? And I actually am following what they usually do at the med spa. They'll do 2 passes, one at a lower pass and one at a higher pass. So I started with 1.25 and I started stamping along my head. And actually, like, I stamped over here and then I was like, and then I went over like that and I started. So you'll really want to make sure you hit that top of the hairline and the sides really well when you're stamping, because remember that that kind of tightens and pulls that skin up, and that's the effect that you're looking for. Don't let any, if you want to stamp your hairline, that's totally fine. Just make sure that you don't get any of your hair in it. You'll want to make sure that you know, rub that whole area up there, even at the top where you're going to stamp with alcohol, just to be careful so you don't get any bacteria in your needles, because then you don't want to make that bacteria spread across your face. So start and do it in sections. I like to section off my face. Here's one section. Here's another section. Another section. And usually I include the neck in that section. Then here's another section, right? And I just kind of section off my face and do it in quadrants. And the reason I do that is because you have about 4 to 15 minutes total before those holes close up. And you want to make sure that you get your serum in quickly before those holes close up. So I started with 1.25 and just stamped along there. I didn't use any serum. There's no slippage for this because it's a stamp. It just goes directly, and I just sterilized this like after I used it. So it just goes directly on the skin like that, and then you just press down. That's it. Okay, just very gently press down. And that is how you stamp your skin. So you'll just want to stamp across. You don't need any slippage. The only reason why you put the slippage on before you do the pen is you're gliding the pen. Okay, because you're just stamping up and down, you don't want any slippage. You don't need it. And honestly, it may sting or burn more. So just do it dry, and then you can put the serums on after you're done. So 1.25 is what I started with, and then I upped it to 1.75. That was crazy, and it hurt. I did it, if you can see, I did it right along the top, and then I was like, nope, we're gonna turn down to 1.5. So the deepest I did here on my forehead was 1.5. Okay, so 1.5 millimeters. And then you'll wanna be gentle, pressing it down. You don't wanna drag it. As you can see in this video, I am just pressing it along, and here I'm going into the cheek quadrant area. And this area I wanted to be deeper. So the first pass I went 1.25, and in the second pass I went 1.75. And I even did 1.75 down here on my chin as well. And then I went 1.5 on my neck. So as you can see, the next quadrant I do is here. Now I'm leaving these out. Okay, I'm leaving my under eyes out, but I'm going into the orbital bone. So right just above the orbital bone, that is where I'm going to stamp the stamper. So not the full eye, but just right there at that orbital bone. Okay, because I have a little hollowing right there, and I'd like to really pump up that collagen right there to get it to fill that. I feel like I've been making some progress. It's not as fast as I'd like. The EGF serum actually made the most progress there. If you see my other video on EGF, you'll see what I'm talking about. So as you can see, once I get done stamping each section, I go in first with my Ordinary Saccharomyces Ferment 30% Milky Toner. This is pretty gentle, and I didn't have any irritation when I needled with it. It's probably not the cleanest. You will want to use really clean ingredients. Don't use anything like harsh, like a vitamin C or an acid, or even like skincare products like Matrixyl, things that have formulas. Just try to stick to like straight ingredients for this one. And you can use an essence. This one's really clean. I love it. I'm loving this essence. And Ordinary actually has a new one I want to try too. I put this one on first, and then I went in with the EGF serum, okay, by the Ordinary, and I put that on, you know, wherever I needled. And then I put on my hyaluronic acid, the Costa Baja. And so I did that in each section. So once I was done with my forehead, I did that. Then as you can see, when I'm done with my cheeks, I do it again, right? And as I'm moving through each quadrant of my face, when I'm finished doing that second needle pass, that's when I go in with the serum. Now you can do 2 to 3 passes. you won't want to do more than 2 to 3 passes. So the reason why you want to go in directly, right? Those channels are still open for that 4 to 15 minutes, and it's really going to help that those serums sink in. I like to just, every time I do the serum, just put it back in all the areas on my face, because I know, like, for whatever duration that is, like, it could be up to 22 minutes. Some people, everybody's different on how long your channels stay open, but I know, like, while it's fresh and while I'm needling, those channels are still open and they really are drinking stuff. So every time I do a section, I kind of just do it all over again, because you're going to really get that skincare into your skin, which is so marvelous, right? Okay. I also did the nose, as you can see, and I'm showing you in this video, as you can see with my nose, I kind of go up to the camera and I show you the pinpoint bleeding. Guys, I do get bleeding, okay? Because I'm going deep. And on my nose, I think I went 1.5. So it's okay to get a little bleeding. It's perfectly fine. But that's why you want it to be super sanitary, okay? Because these are open wounds. They're open wounds. And even though they're tiny open wounds, they're still open wounds. And you want to treat them as open wounds. So you need to be very, very sanitary. If you are, you will heal quickly. I promise you. I promise you, you will heal quickly. And in fact, the quicker you heal, I feel like the more like sharp and better the needles are. And y'all, I healed so fast with this one. So fast with the derma stamping. So there you have it. I stamped my entire face. Okay, you can see that I'm really, really, really red. And I have some pinprick bleeding, but I really concentrated a lot all over my skin. I made sure to get my hairline, to get all the way down my neck. I really concentrated a lot on these necklines because I'm very self-conscious about them. You can't see them as much on camera because the bright lights are shining. They're faint, but they're there. Just like my 11s are faint, but they're there. And then my nasolabial folds, I went over those several times. Woo, those hurt like nobody's business at 1.75. But I'm determined to make those better. I am determined. But I am about a week past, so I did this last week. Y'all, my skin is looking good today. I love when you needle, when you're first needling, right? Because that week after, it's like, woo, you get that glow, that post-needle glow, and it's just amazing. Your skin looks just so good. So that's all you do. That's all you do. It's really that easy. It took me probably about 15 minutes to needle. That's it. Not very long at all. The process is super quick. And even putting all the skincare ingredients on. And the last thing that I put on is my healing ointment. And I accidentally didn't shoot that part at all. So I just shot a picture of me or a video of me greasy, because this stuff's a little greasy. It is like really greasy. Okay, not a little greasy. It's really greasy, but it's very similar. It's kind of a cross between a Vaseline and Skin Fuse. So if you get your microneedling done at a med spa and you use the skin pin, they'll give you Skin Fuse, which is the skin pin healing ointment. And it is very similar to this. It's a little less Vaseline feeling and a little bit more goopy feeling. But it's kind of almost this cross between Vaseline and like aloe. So, you know, you could put a little aloe on underneath this if you want. Aloe is going to do nothing but help your skin and heal it. It's fine. And then you can put the CeraVe ointment on the top, or you can I just use the CeraVe ointment. It doesn't matter to me. You can't buy Skin Fuse. There are a few products that are very similar to Skin Fuse. The Cicaplast I don't do well with that though. It does cause a reaction on my eczema. Not sure why. I think it's the cica. I don't think I do well with cica. For some people it's super soothing. For others it can be irritating, and I'm just one of those people that it irritates. So there you have it. All right. So definitely after, you know, you're done, then you just kind of let it sit. And all day I just let that sit. I actually did it in the morning on a Sunday because I knew I'd have to work the next day and I wanted to do it early. And then by that night, my skin was a little red, but it wasn't terrible. The next day I felt no sensitivity. I woke up in the morning, my skin was a little red. I do have some videos on those on my Aftercare, like how I did it and stuff. And I will put those on another video, and I'm going to put that on my Patreon account. Guys, I'm working right now to build my Patreon account. So I figured I would have like all of the extra footage, maybe some behind the scenes stuff, all on Patreon. I'm working really hard to get that up and going. I don't have it up and going yet, but be looking for it. I'll make an announcement when I do. But for the aftercare, what you'll really want to do is just make sure your skin is clean the next day. I cleansed my skin in the morning. I used the same thing. I just used the Ordinary Milky Toner. I used a triple hyaluronic that has 3 different molecular weights so that some of it would sink in my skin. I used my EGF, and then I used, instead of the healing ointment, I used the Roche-Posay Triple Repair Moisturizing Cream. And as you can see, I'm going to throw up a little tiny piece of that video. That's what my skin looked like the next morning, right? It wasn't too bad at all. I'm telling you, I'm almost wondering, is it this stuff? This stuff is so good. But it barely looked red. And I did my normal, I put my sunscreen on. I use Elta MD sunscreen. I'll pop that right there. That's the sunscreen I use, completely mineral. Guys, when you are microneedling, do not use chemical sunscreen the next day. There was a study done in the Journal of Dermatology, and it showed that after you microneedle for about 3 days, your skin is absorbing more product, and it actually absorbs more of the chemicals from chemical sunscreen. So most dermatologists will recommend that you use only mineral-based sunscreen after microneedling due to the absorption of more chemicals. You just don't want to absorb more chemicals, right? So make sure that that's a mineral like Elta MD. It's a great sunscreen. Supergoop has a great mineral one. Tula has an awesome mineral sun. There's a lot of great mineral sunscreens. They're all in my Amazon cart. If there's one that you like, pick that up, use that. Definitely shield your face from the sun after you have microneedled. And my job, I do go from school to school. So I am out and about during the day, and I wear a very wide brimmed hat, and I make sure that I keep my sunscreen on. That's just sunscreen. I don't wear any makeup the next day. Usually it's 3 days, and then I'll start wearing makeup, but I don't usually for the first 3 days. So that night, the next night after I microneedled, I did then go back in with my CeraVe healing ointment. So I did my normal skincare just like I did before. I'm not my normal, but my microneedling skincare like I did before. And then I put on that healing ointment. And that was my nighttime. That was night 2. Okay. Then the sun goes down, I sleep, and it rises. And what do I do the next day? I wake up and I do this again. This time I use my Roche-Posay. Okay. That is the 3rd day. This day I would not wear makeup either. I would just let my skin heal. Y'all, my skin was healed. Like literally 0 irritation, no stinging, no burning, nothing. So much so, I actually had a presentation to give at a school. So I was like, I don't usually wear makeup on day 3. But I went ahead and did my CC cream. I wear CC cream, not foundation. So I did it's a mineral based like sunscreen. with some like hyaluronic acid and stuff in it to like, you know, help your skin. So I use that like I normally do. And I washed it off at night and I was like, what in the world has happened? I don't feel any irritation at all. I still did my post-needling skincare at night, right? But I had no irritation. I woke up the next morning, my skin wasn't red. I was fine. I had no irritation yet again. So I don't know if it was this. I don't know if it was the stamper, but y'all, I healed in 3 days. Remember, do not overdo this. You will only do this once a month. If you overdo it, you could lead to skin irritation. You could break down your collagen. You do not want to break down your collagen. Guys, proper sterilization. Soak this for 10 minutes prior to use. Make sure it dries all the way. You can actually cause an infection, so make sure you use your alcohol, that you sterilize fully, that you sterilize your tools fully, that you wear your gloves. You do not want to get an infection. It is not fun. Do not bang it and do not like dig it into your skin. You are literally gently pressing it, gently pressing it, gently pressing it, gently pressing it. You are not like on your skin. You do not want to do that, right? You want to just gently press it into your skin. And then also remember that this is not a one-off treatment. If this is the first time you've needled, you're going to have a few treatments. You just have to. I'm telling you, this works, but you gotta do it. You gotta have a routine. You've gotta use all the things. If you wanna do it this way, you gotta throw the kitchen sink at it. So there you have it. Stay sterile, keep that hygiene going. Make sure that you do that when you're dermastamping. Use this tutorial to follow along with me and to make sure that you have everything that you need and that you're doing it properly, because you don't want to make any mistakes when you're stamping. But guys, it is really, really easy. Okay. The only downtime is the time it takes to heal. So leave your comments in the comment box. Have you tried this? Are you going to try it? How long did it take you to heal? Have you been using this healing ointment? Am I just like insane, or does this stuff work really well? Or is it the stamper? What are your guys' thoughts? You know, I like hearing from you. So until next time, stay gorgeous, stay glowing, and keep on dermastamping. I'll see you next time on Glow Up with Shelly.